Barbie and Ken have finally decided how they plan to deploy the local area network at the dream house. Like most households today, they're going wireless with 802.11 AC Wi-Fi. They chose wireless over wired because it's less expensive to install and supports all their computing devices, from desktop computers to laptops, tablets, smartphones, and home automation. They purchased a new Soho router that will connect to their cable modem so the LAN devices can get onto the internet. But first, Barbie and Ken need to set up the router. That starts with a wired connection from computer to router. This is easy to do with a portable computer. We're going to go a little geeky here, so roll with me. Most of these instructions will be in the booklet packaged with a Soho router. So, first, plug the laptop into the router via an Ethernet cable. Then, open a browser on the computer and type in the IP address of the router. The IP address is the name of the Soho box. For the laptop to router connection to work, both devices need to be on the same local area network. That's defined by both the physical connection and the IP addresses of both machines. By default, the router will have an IP address set by the manufacturer, often 192.168.1.1. Also by default, the router will provide an IP address to the laptop that makes it part of the same LAN. Once Barbie makes the connection, she can log into the router. The Linksys router access username and password are set to admin and admin by default. That's the first thing that needs to change when you get into the actual router configuration. Log in. The basic setup screen is all of this sort of local area network settings. Most of these you'll leave alone unless your internet service provider tells you to make specific changes. About the only thing you would change automatically here would be the time zone to match your location. The Barbie Dream House, luckily, is in Malibu, California, and the time zone is set to Pacific time, so Barbie's golden. Okay, let's get the password changed. Click the Administration tab, and there, password. Enter a new password twice, and then click Save Settings. Wait for it. All right, click Continue. Now let's set up the wireless LAN. Click the Wireless tab. This router is ready for Wi-Fi protected setup by default, which is awesome for quick setup, but doesn't provide the most robust security over time. To set up the router manually, click the Manual radio button, kind of conveniently labeled. By default, the network modes for both 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz are set to mixed. That ensures that pretty much every Wi-Fi device can connect with proper credentials. You can change these settings to exclude older and slower devices if you want a somewhat faster Wi-Fi experience with new devices. For now, let's just leave them mixed. The network name, or SSID, is set to a kind of generic Linksys default. That needs to change. Let's try Pretty Fly for a Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's beautiful. And let's do the other one too. Mom, use this one. Lovely. The channel widths and the channels are set to pretty much automatic at this point. Those are fine. If you run into problems with your neighbors and overlap and overuse channels, then you can change that later. But for now, the default is fine. The SSID broadcast is set to, is set to broadcast by default. There is some discussion that turning off SSID broadcast will enhance security. That's simply not true. Select Save Settings, wait for it, and click Continue. The final basic setup requires wireless security. Click the Wireless Security subtab. Security is disabled by default, but that's because it makes it easier to set the thing up. That needs to change. You have many options with this router. You can set it to WPA2 Personal. You can set it to Enterprise mode. If you have a Radius server, you could do that. Yeah. In this case, because we left mixed access for all those older devices, the best security we can pick here is WPA2/WPA mixed mode. We'll select that for both. Type in a password, passphrase, fly, hi, little bunny. You get the idea. Make this something not easy to crack, but also memorable. Any device that connects to this wireless network is going to have to use these credentials. When you're done, click Save Settings, and you're good to go. Oops. Let's type something else in here. And Save Settings. Yay! The basic Soho router setup is complete.